So last week we took some notes on slope and y-intercept, and these are the notes that we took. They should be a couple of pages back in your math notebook. So we're going to talk really quickly about all we need to do to write an equation in slope-intercept form. It is so easy. You find the slope, you find the y-intercept, and you write them in an equation. Okay? So for this one, I have my slope, which is negative 2/3, which I found by doing rise over run, and I found the slope of negative 2/3. I looked for where it crossed the y-axis. Let me zoom in on this actually to make that a little easier. I looked for where it crossed the y-axis, and I got 0, negative 7. So my equation is y equals negative 2/3 x plus 7. That's my equation in slope-intercept form, because I take the slope and plug it in for m, I take the y-intercept and plug, and that's a negative 2/3 by the way, and I take the y-intercept and plug it in for b. Okay. Now this undefined line is a little different, and we'll talk more about undefined later, but when I see an undefined line, I look for where it's crossing. So it's not going to be a y equals, since it's crossing through the x-axis. It's going to be an x equals, and since every single x value there is 6, the equation of this line is x equals 6. And we'll do some horizontal lines later. Okay, if I look at this one on the bottom, okay, I have found the slope by doing rise over run. I found that the slope is 3, and it crosses at 0, 1. So my equation is y equals 3x plus 1. And that's my equation in slope-intercept form. That is literally all we do to find equations from a graph. We rise over run to find our slope, and we plug that in for m, and then we find our y-intercept and plug that in for b. Okay? Now, with a table, it's maybe a little more work, but it's still, we do the same thing. Now, we'll talk more about how I'll have another video about how we find the y-intercept when there isn't one there. Okay, when you don't have a row. But in this case, if I have a row that shows the y-intercept, or even if I don't, I find the y-intercept, and I have my slope and my y-intercept, I do the same thing. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 8. Okay, same thing here. Y equals 0x plus 3. But I wouldn't leave it like this, because 0x, the 0 times anything cancels away. So I would simplify that to y equals 3. And this is a horizontal line. I can tell that because all of the y's are the same. Okay? And we have our equation that we've talked about in the past. Okay? And this last one is y equals 1x minus 2. But again, 1x, I don't have to put the 1, so we usually write this as y equals x minus 2. That's our simplified version. Okay? Tomorrow in class, we're going to talk about what it looks like when we have to find a slope from 2 points, slope and write an equation from 2 points. So we will talk about this tomorrow, and when we talk about that, we'll talk a little bit more about how to find the y-intercept when the one isn't given.